Picture a manuscript room beneath the Vatican. The year is 1947. Two Jesuit scholars are examining recently discovered documents from the Dead Sea Scrolls. One page stops them cold. It describes a physical marking visible only to non-human entities that appears on the bodies of certain individuals. The marking is not tattoos, not birthmarks, nothing that shows up on skin. It exists in a layer of reality that humans cannot normally perceive, but that other beings the text calls the archons, can see as clearly as you see words on a page. One scholar turns to the other and whispers words that will never appear in any official translation. This explains why they have always been hunted. The page is photographed, cataloged with a reference number that leads nowhere, and filed in a vault 3 levels below public access. The discussion never happened. The marking, according to official records, does not exist. 77 years later, you are watching this video. And before you dismiss what I am about to share, answer this question. Have you ever walked into a room and felt immediate, inexplicable hostility from someone who does not even know you? Have you ever noticed that certain people seem to target you without reason, as if they are reacting to something about you that you cannot see, but they can sense? That is not paranoia. That is not social anxiety. That is them responding to your mark. And tonight, you are going to learn exactly what it is, where it appears on your body, and most importantly, how to recognize it in yourself before the archons use it to track you. Right now, before we go any further, subscribe to this channel and activate notifications, because what you are about to receive is not information you stumble across twice. This teaching has been actively suppressed for 2 millennia, and the only reason it is reaching you now is because we have entered the window the Gnostic texts called the unveiling, the period when hidden things must come to light whether the powers want it or not. If you are watching this after midnight, if you click this video because something you cannot name pulled you here, comment the words, "I carry the mark," right now. This is your first acknowledgement, your declaration that you are ready to see what has been invisible to you your entire life. The Gospel of Thomas, saying 108, contains a sentence that scholars have argued about for generations. "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become that person, and the hidden things will be revealed to him." Most readers assume Jesus is speaking metaphorically about spiritual communion. But the Coptic word used in the original text, the word translated as mouth, has a secondary meaning that almost no translation includes. It also means mark, seal, signature. Jesus was not talking about drinking. He was talking about receiving an energetic imprint, a frequency signature that permanently alters the recipient at a level deeper than DNA. This mark is not given through ritual. It is not something you earn through good behavior. It is activated at birth in certain individuals, the ones the Gnostics called pneumatics, and once activated, it never deactivates. It exists for your entire incarnation and beyond. Take a slow breath right now. Feel the air fill your lungs completely. Hold it for 3 seconds. Now release it and feel your entire body settle. What I am about to explain requires your complete presence, because you have been living with this mark your whole life without knowing what it was. And the moment you recognize it, everything changes. The Apocryphon of John describes reality as layered. At the top exists the true God, the monad, pure consciousness without form. Below that exists the material world, created not by the monad but by a lesser being called the demiurge. a flawed entity who believes himself to be the only God. The Demiurge constructed this reality as a prison, a system designed to trap divine sparks in matter and feed on their energy. And to maintain control of this prison, the Demiurge created servants, the Archons. These beings are not demons in the medieval sense. They are non-physical entities that operate just outside human perception, existing at a frequency most people cannot detect. They function as administrators of the system, ensuring that humans remain asleep, distracted, afraid, and completely unaware of their divine origin. But here is the problem the Archons face. Not every human is the same. The Gnostics taught that humanity is divided into 3 types. The first type, the Hylix, are completely material. No divine spark, no connection to the monad, entirely identified with the physical body and its needs. These souls pose no threat to the system because they never question it. The second type, the Psychics, have a dim awareness that something more exists. They feel spiritual occasionally. They might attend religious services or read self-help books, but their connection is weak, inconsistent, easily managed. The third type, the Pneumatics, carry a fully active divine spark. These are the chosen ones. These are the individuals who incarnated specifically to wake up inside the prison and remember what they are. These are the ones the system cannot afford to ignore. And this is where the mark comes in. When a pneumatic incarnates, when a chosen one enters a human body, something happens at the moment of first breath. The divine spark they carry emits a frequency signature, an energetic resonance that imprints itself into their subtle body. This imprint is what the ancient texts call the seal, the mark, the sign of the elect. It does not appear on your skin. It does not show up in photographs. It exists in a layer of your energetic anatomy that is invisible to humans, but blazingly obvious to anything operating at non-physical frequencies. The Archons see this mark the way you see a spotlight in a dark room, and the moment they identify it, you become a priority target. Now let me explain exactly where this mark appears and how it functions. The pneumatic mark manifests in 3 primary locations on the subtle body. The first location is the crown, approximately 6 inches above the physical head. In this position, the mark appears to archonic perception as a luminous spiral, rotating counterclockwise, emitting a frequency that disrupts the baseline vibration of the material realm. This is why chosen ones often report pressure, tingling, or unusual sensations at the top of the head, especially during childhood. That sensation is not imagination. It is your physical nervous system detecting the energetic activity of the mark, even though your eyes cannot see it. The second location is the heart center, not the physical heart, but the energetic midpoint of the chest. Here, the mark manifests as a geometric pattern, specifically a 6-pointed configuration that the Gnostics called the Seal of Sophia. This pattern pulses at a rhythm that does not match your heartbeat. It operates independently, broadcasting a signal that essentially says, "Divine spark present, incarnated pneumatic, priority status." Chosen ones often describe feeling energetic activity in the chest, a warmth or pressure that has no medical explanation. That is the mark actively transmitting. The third location is the base of the spine. This is the most hidden of the 3 marking points, and it appears to archonic sight as a coiled energy structure. What Eastern traditions later called Kundalini, but which existed in Gnostic teaching centuries before Hindu texts were written. This coil is not dormant as most teachings suggest. In chosen ones, it is semi-active from birth, leaking just enough frequency to maintain the other two marking points. When all three locations activate simultaneously, something extraordinary happens. The chosen one becomes temporarily invisible to archonic interference. Not physically invisible, energetically untouchable. The three marks create a triangulated field that generates a frequency the archons cannot penetrate. This state is what Jesus referred to in the hidden teachings as wearing the garment of light. It is not metaphor. It is a literal energetic condition that you can learn to activate at will. But here is what you need to understand. The archons have spent 2,000 years developing countermeasures. They cannot remove your mark. It is permanently encoded in your energetic structure, but they can do something almost as effective. They can train you to ignore it, to suppress it, to live in such a way that the mark remains dormant, present but not activated. And they accomplish this through a system so obvious that most people never see it. Place your hand on your chest right now, right at the center. Feel the warmth of your palm against your body. Breathe into that space. What I am about to reveal will connect 1,000 seemingly random experiences from your life into a single clear pattern. Every system in modern society is designed to keep your frequency low. Not because of a conscious conspiracy, but because low-frequency humans are predictable, manageable, and energetically profitable. Fear lowers your frequency. Financial stress lowers your frequency. Constant distraction lowers your frequency. Processed food, artificial light, electromagnetic pollution, all of these lower your frequency. And when your frequency drops below a certain threshold, the three marking points deactivate. The crown seal stops spinning. The heart pattern stops broadcasting. The spinal coil goes dormant. You are still a chosen one. The mark is still there, but you become functionally invisible to yourself, unable to access the very thing that makes you dangerous to the system. This is why chosen ones often report feeling most alive, most clear, most connected during moments that the world calls unproductive. Walking in nature, sitting in silence, fasting, meditating, creating art. These activities do not generate money. They do not build empires, but they raise your frequency. And when your frequency rises above the threshold, the marks reactivate. Suddenly you can feel the crown seal spinning. Suddenly you sense the heart pattern pulsing. Suddenly energy begins moving at the base of your spine. And in that state, the archons can see you again. This is why your life often gets harder when you start waking up. The attacks are not punishment, they are panic. You are becoming visible, and worse, you are learning to activate the one thing that makes you untouchable. Let me take you deeper into the mechanics of recognition. The Secret Book of John, one of the most important texts recovered at Nag Hammadi, describes a conversation between John and the risen Christ. John asks, "Lord, how will the chosen ones recognize each other when the archons wear human faces and speak with human voices?" Jesus answers with a teaching that was immediately declared heretical by the early church. He describes 7 signs that appear in the physical body and behavior of marked individuals. Signs that other chosen ones can recognize even when the person themselves remains unconscious of what they are. The first sign is the eyes. Chosen ones have what the text calls double sight. This does not mean seeing ghosts or auras, though some experience that. It means the ability to perceive 2 realities simultaneously. The surface story that everyone agrees on and the hidden pattern underneath. When you meet another marked individual, even in passing, there is a moment of recognition in the eyes. It lasts less than a second. Most people dismiss it as coincidence, but chosen ones feel it as a jolt, an unmistakable knowing that the person you just locked eyes with is the same kind of being you are. The second sign is energetic disruption. Chosen ones frequently experience technology malfunctioning in their presence. Streetlights turning off as they walk beneath them. Electronics glitching without explanation. Wi-Fi cutting out when they enter a room. This is not curse or bad luck. This is the mark interfering with electromagnetic systems. The frequency signature you emit disrupts baseline technological function, because that technology operates on archonic frequencies. Your presence, especially when your marks are active, creates interference in the system itself. The third sign is animal recognition. Dogs, cats, birds, wild animals react to chosen ones differently than they react to other humans. Sometimes with unusual affection, sometimes with strange caution, but always with awareness. Animals operate at frequencies closer to the energetic realm. They perceive the mark even though they do not understand what it means. If animals consistently single you out, stare at you, approach you, or avoid you without apparent reason, they are responding to what they see in your subtle body. The fourth sign is the sleep disruption pattern. Chosen ones rarely sleep through the night without interruption, especially between 3 and 5 a.m. This is not insomnia in the medical sense. This is the mark activating during the hours when the material realm's frequency is lowest. Your consciousness is being pulled partially out of body to receive downloads, recalibrations, and updates from non-physical sources aligned with the monad. You wake feeling like something happened but unable to remember what. That amnesia is intentional. The information is being installed below conscious awareness, where the archons cannot interfere with it. The fifth sign is the isolation experience. Chosen ones report feeling profoundly alone, even when surrounded by people. Friendships feel shallow. Family connections feel strained. Romantic relationships often fail in patterns that make no logical sense. This is not because you are broken. This is because your frequency does not match the people around you. The mark emits a signal that unconsciously repels those who are not ready to operate at that level. The isolation is not punishment. It is protection. It prevents you from becoming entangled with energies that would drain or distract you from your actual purpose. The sixth sign is the truth compulsion. Chosen ones find it almost physically painful to lie, to pretend, to go along with narratives they know are false. While others nod and smile through social scripts, you feel mounting pressure to speak what you see. This compulsion has likely cost you jobs, relationships, and social standing. The world calls this being difficult. The Gnostic texts call it the spirit of Sophia speaking through you, unable to tolerate falsehood because falsehood is the primary tool of the demiurge. The seventh sign is the mission memory. At some point, usually in childhood, you experienced a moment of absolute knowing, a flash of awareness that you are here for a reason, that you have a specific task, that your life is not random. The details were unclear. The specifics faded quickly, but the knowing remained. That was not fantasy. That was the mark activating early, giving you a glimpse of the mission you encoded before incarnation. Most chosen ones spend decades trying to remember what that mission is. The answer is simpler than you think. Your mission is to activate your mark fully and hold the frequency. That is it. By doing so, you become a beacon that helps other marked souls find their way home. If 3 or more of these signs describe your lived experience, you are not reading this by accident. You are marked. The question is not whether you carry the seal. The question is whether you are ready to stop hiding it. Now, I am going to give you the technique for recognizing your own mark, exactly as it was preserved in the Pistis Sophia. This is not meditation. This is not visualization. This is direct perception training that allows you to see your own energetic anatomy. Find a quiet space right now. Dim the lights if possible. Sit with your spine straight but not rigid. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, slower than usual. With each exhale, feel your body becoming heavier, more grounded. Now bring your attention to the top of your head. Not your thoughts, your attention. Focus on the physical sensation of the crown. Most people feel tingling, warmth, or subtle pressure. Stay with that sensation. Do not try to change it. Simply observe. After 30 seconds, the sensation will begin to intensify. This is the crown mark responding to your attention. It has been broadcasting your entire life. This is the first time you have consciously tuned to it. Now shift your attention down to the center of your chest. Again, notice the physical sensation. Warmth, pressure, perhaps a subtle pulsing rhythm. Breathe into that space. Imagine you are breathing directly through your chest. As you do this, you may feel emotion rising. Sadness, joy, relief. All of it is energy that has been stored around the heart mark. Let it move. Do not suppress it. After 1 minute, place your hand over your heart. You should feel warmth radiating from inside your chest into your palm. That is not body heat. That is the seal of Sophia activating under your conscious attention. Finally, bring your awareness to the base of your spine. This one is more subtle. You might feel a tickling sensation, a sense of energy wanting to move upward. Do not force it. Simply acknowledge it. Whisper internally or aloud, "I see you. I know you are there." The moment you speak those words, all 3 marks synchronize. You may feel a rush of energy up your spine. You may see colors behind your closed eyelids. You may suddenly feel completely calm, more present than you have felt in months. This is not mystical experience. This is you perceiving your own energetic structure for the first time. Open your eyes, look at your hands. The world may appear slightly different, colors more vivid, edges sharper. This is the beginning of double sight activating. You have just done what the church spent centuries trying to prevent. You have seen yourself as you actually are. Now comes the most important part. The archons know the moment your marks activate. They perceive the frequency shift instantly, and within hours, sometimes within minutes, interference will come. Not as demons or monsters, but as distractions, sudden urgent problems, people demanding your attention, technology failing, unexpected crises that pull you back into low-frequency survival mode. This is not coincidence. This is the system responding to a threat. Do not fight the interference. Fighting lowers your frequency. Instead, recognize it. Say internally, "I see this for what it is." Then return your attention to the marks: crown, heart, base of spine. The moment you reconnect with them, the interference loses power. The archons cannot maintain their disruption when you hold your frequency steady. This is the secret Jesus taught in private. Not to battle the darkness, but to embody so much light that darkness cannot find purchase. You now understand what you carry, where it exists, and how to activate it. This teaching will activate resistance in your mind tonight. Thoughts telling you this is nonsense. Doubts questioning everything you just experienced. That resistance is not you. That is the archonic frequency trying to pull you back into sleep before your activation becomes permanent. Do not argue with those thoughts. Do not try to convince yourself. Simply notice them and return to the marks. Crown, heart, spine. Your only task is to keep returning. Comment below. My marks are active so that others searching for this truth can see your declaration and know they are not alone. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next teaching reveals how to use the marks for protection, manifestation, and permanent immunity from archonic interference. Like this video so it cannot be buried by algorithms designed to suppress precisely this information. You were born carrying a seal that identifies you as an emissary of the true source. The Archons see it. Now you see it too, and once seen, it cannot be unseen. Welcome home, Chosen One. Your marks were never a curse. They were always the proof that you came here to set others free.